What's up, guys? Ron from Rohde Law, and in today's video I'm going to talk about banning short-term rentals. Now, if you've been following along this channel, I talk about real estate investing, and everything that is happening in the governments is drastically trying to impact the outcome of voters. Okay, and let me back up a little bit. To talk about the issues that we have today, there is a shortage of housing. Okay, that's just a fact. No matter where you are in the US, housing prices have gone up incredibly. If you're lucky enough to buy a house, then you've gotten in on this elevator that is taken off. And it is in specific response to government and local government policies designed to improve the values of the current homeowners. And I will say they've done a very good job. Right, we're talking about lot sizes, coverage minimums, exterior, quality of brick and that sort of thing. And all that does is push the price up of new housing, which makes it not profitable for builders to build affordable housing or even just basic, good housing on vacant lots. Now, the reason I say that is because this trend of Airbnb has I think that it has exacerbated to some degree, but it's also made it a very pivotal point in that people are holding on to houses that could otherwise be sold to owner occupiers, and then they're renting them out only because there's a lack of supply that makes it profitable to rent out a Airbnb, even with the hotel taxes, even with everything, specifically because of the lack of supply. If you had a ton of houses coming on, I guarantee the Airbnb rates would come down, which makes it much more competitive with a hotel. And it's not going to make sense to have an Airbnb. However, in light of all of the problems with Airbnb in residential neighborhoods, you've got the parties, you've got shootings, you've got arrests, you've got crazy stories of noise complaints, parking issues. A lot of cities are fighting back, and to me, they're doing this for two reasons, right? Airbnb and all of these owners, these residential owners from short-term rentals, they're loosely banded. They don't represent a lobby. They don't have a lot of money to put into politicians' pockets. And so they're not able to influence the local government, unlike the hotel lobby, which is a fewer group of owners with deeper pockets that are really aligned on their interests to influence the right politicians. So that's one part of the equation. Now, the other half is this going to put more supply into the housing market? I think it's really interesting because as an attorney, as a real estate investor, a lot of my clients have a lot of STRs. And I've always kind of advised them on this risk about you are operating a business that could disappear overnight with the pass of a city council ban. And so that's exactly what we're seeing. I'll get to the heart of this video, which is prompted by recently Dallas, the city of Dallas, my hometown. They voted to ban short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, anything that's under 30 days. There's 1,000 units, okay? We're talking 1,000 units out of millions of households. It's really not going to make a whole dent, but I do think that it is a good ploy to cater to the voters, right? There's a lot more voters who dislike short-term rentals than there are short-term rental owners that are going to vote against them. And so it's a really clear politics thing that I saw. It was heading to this inevitable conclusion because of the momentum on both sides. You have hotel operators, you have angry resident owners, property owners, all clamoring for the end of Airbnb and short-term rentals. And the short-term rental owners, let's say it's 1,000 people, they don't have enough of a voice. They're not organized enough, and eventually these types of issues solve themselves. This issue has been 4 years in the making, but if you're trying to build a business, you've got to understand what are your risks. And you have business risks, you have competitors, you have employer risks, you have liability risk. But you also want to eliminate as many as you can, and you want to eliminate risk such as government risk. And this is something where if the city can pass a law and knock you out of business, you're in a bad spot. And I'm seeing a lot of flood on the market right now. People are getting out of Airbnb, short-term rentals. As an additional bigger city, New York City is drastically, I would say they're effectively killing short-term rentals as well. They have a lot of these rules about you must be present with the guest. You can't have more than 2 people at a time. They're trying to ban the parties. They say it's a win, but again, we're talking about 3,000 units in a city of 10 million people in New York, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's only about the optics, okay? And so what I want you to take away is this is a clear example of how over time, moneyed interests will always win if they are not going against a big block of voters, right? So I say this because I'm not saying that the hotel lobby is going to be able to crush, rentals, or multifamily is going to be able to crush single family owners. The problem is that concept goes against too many voters. But with STR, you had the problem of they weren't organized enough, they weren't spending enough money, and you've got to pay these politicians, you've got to donate, you've got to support them in the community. And so that's really it. This is the perfect example of the inevitable outcome. I think you're going to see more and more of this in various cities. You've got to adapt. Do I think STR platform is dead? No, it's not completely dead, but it is going to be severely restricted. You're going to have high regulation. Only deep-pocketed investors are going to be able to comply and do that. So that's it for today's STR update. Lawyer Reacts. Smash that like button, and we'll see you next time.